Right now. What's up, everyone? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Listen, this is another episode of the Government Coins podcast. We are in season 5. We're in season 5, and this is episode 2. Oh my gosh. So today, over the last few years running this podcast, we've been focusing heavily on, at the federal level and some in the local area because I'm in the state of Florida. But we recently started reaching out and expanding into different areas, mostly because a lot of you were requesting. Let's put that out there. So I'm happy, to be able to have this opportunity and provide some more information. But today we have a special treat. This is our first Texas episode. So our first episode in the state of Texas, and it is the city of Fort Worth. And today I am joined here by Christina Brooks and Sky Williams, and I'm so excited. So thank you both for being here today.
You're welcome.
It is a great pleasure to share space with you. I'm excited about the conversation.
Absolutely. And in just getting deeper into this, I would love to ask you both just to tell us a little bit about yourself. So that way we can understand what your journey has been getting into the space of, small business, equity and equity in business, but also just understanding more about helping businesses navigate the procurement process. But just you in general, let us know who you are.
So I'll jump in and go first because since I'm kind of the new kid on the block, so I have been with the city of Fort Worth for 20 years. So even though I say I'm new, I am not new to the city. I'm just new to the diversity and inclusion department. And I've been throughout the city in a lot of different departments. I've always had a commitment to community service and to public service, right? And so I find that coming to diversity and inclusion has really helped me coalesce all of those, like my love for helping the community, as well as making sure that we are enhancing and leaving it better than what we found it. So that's my journey to get here.
I love that. Leaving it better than how we found it. I'm saving that one.
Okay, so I am Christina Brooks. I'm the Chief Equity Officer and the Director of the Department of Diversity and Inclusion. And my journey, this is my second stint in public service in over 2 states, 2 different cities, and 3 different mayors. So prior to that, I was in the same space, working in the same space with in equity programs and services, but came out of higher education. I was at University of Notre Dame for almost 11 years, and the last 3 roles I have held in higher education, and both roles in the public sector have all been inaugural roles. So I was the first diversity recruitment manager for the University of Notre Dame. I was the first diversity and inclusion officer in the office of the mayor for then Pete Buttigieg, now Secretary Pete Buttigieg in the Biden administration. And when I came here, Mayor Betsy Price was at the helm of the ship, and David Cook was a city manager, and he's still the city manager, and now under Mayor Mattie Parker. So I've built departments and programs in my last 3 roles, kind of creating the framework for how they would function. And my whole 20 plus years of experience has always been in space working with the unvoiced. people that have not had a seat at the table, but had a real stake in the outcomes of the decisions that were being made there. And it was my responsibility that if I had a seat there, that I was speaking on their behalf and making sure that policy decisions, processes that were being developed, or procedures, or where resources were being spent, took them into consideration. And so it's very likely that I was the one kind of centering the people in those conversations. So that's how I got here.
And that is a really great story in terms of how, you know, being in this space for the very first time and just really honestly I think what people don't realize is about, you know, public service aspect of it. It really has to, in order to be successful, it really has to be connected to the community. Yeah, it really needs to be that. So showing, you know, that from starting this to learning in the process and how well you incorporated community into the aspect of it shows the success of these programs and why you've consistently been on this path. So definitely thank you for that. Now, just to give us a better understanding of your roles and what they entail, would you mind explaining a little bit about what those roles are and what those roles are and what do you do within the city?
Yes. You want to go first, Kai?
Yeah, I'll always go first because like you're the closer and like you bring it home. So I am the diversity and inclusion manager over our business equity division in diversity and inclusion department. So say that 5 times fast. So the city of Fort Worth has a business equity ordinance, which is a law that says that we have a responsibility, or we make an attempt to give a certain amount of business to minority or women-owned businesses. So, and that is for contracts that are for greater than $100,000. So any city contract that's over that amount, we have a responsibility to make sure that we are attempting to give that business to the minority or women-owned businesses. Now, having said that, my section is responsible for kind of collecting and analyzing the availability in the market. So, like, to tell how many businesses are out there that can serve and can get these contracts. And then we also work internally to the city of Fort Worth with project managers to make sure that when we're going out for bids, that the information that we're putting out on the street is, it has inclusive language and that it is prepared correctly so that it is available for all businesses, not just people who are, you know, at the highest level, but for small businesses as well. And then once those awards are given, then my section also helps make sure that we are in compliance with the ordinance. So making sure that everyone is doing the right thing and that we are making, that payments are being made on time and that everything is in compliance. So that's what I do.
Okay, and I do have a follow-on question before Christina hops on, and I the availability aspect of it. I think this is the first time that has been brought up on the podcast. But could you share more about what that looks like in terms of identifying available businesses in the area?
Sure. So our marketplace is, we actually have 6 counties that we can pull from. And then within those 6 county region, a business has to be certified as an MBE, Minority Business Enterprise, a WBE, Woman-Owned Business, or a DBE, Disadvantaged Business Enterprise. Once they are certified, then that is how we determine whether or not they can become part of the list for availability, depending upon what the service is or what their business is.
So
So
I
it's important.
can, yeah.
Oh,
So
go
I
ahead.
can jump, yeah, I can jump in there.
Mhm.
Availability, specific to the program, means that they have to be certified to participate in the program. Now, there are a lot of African American, Hispanic, Asian, Native, and women-owned businesses that exist in the marketplace, but they aren't certified as a minority business enterprise or a women business enterprise. What we do is track that, right? So when we pull an availability list, we're only pulling those firms that are certified as an MBE or a WBE, what we call here in Fort Worth, business equity firms, right? Because here in Texas, technically they're not the minority, they are the majority. So we like to use language that's consistent with facts, and therefore we call them business equity firms.
Love that. Business equity. Okay, so just keeping it clear, you need to be certified you need to be certified in order to be on this list. Now, in terms of the certification process, I know it's something we're going to hop in a little bit later, but would you mind telling us more about your role, Christina?
Sure. So as the Chief Equity Officer and Director of the department, there are 3 divisions that I'm responsible for. Business Equity Division that Sky has already mentioned. We're responsible for making sure that we're in compliance with our business equity ordinance. All contracts over $100,000 come through our department. We determine whether or not we can set goals on those on those contracts based on availability. Then we have a Civil Rights Enforcement Division, which also is responsible for an ordinance. It's our non-discrimination ordinance that looks at fair housing, fair employment, public accommodations, ADA or Americans with Disabilities Act, and Title VI programs. So any programs where federal funds come in, there are federal guidelines that have to be followed. So that division is responsible for performing investigations. We're the substantial equivalent of U.S. Housing and Urban Development, or HUD, as well as the EEOC. So we can investigate cases on their behalf locally in that division. Then the other division, which really didn't exist in any form or fashion before our department was created, that's the Municipal Equity Division. And that division is really responsible for kind of all of the education and cultural programming for city staff, as well as partnerships with external organizations for citywide cultural events, as well as tracking equity in municipal service delivery, which is something that is kind of new. Not too many cities or agencies do that, but we're doing it here in Fort Worth. So we're looking at everything from stormwater to streets and sidewalks to permitting process and zoning and land use and future land use, and seeing how our policies impact the equity of outcomes for our community, and we call that our Thriving Together plan. So those are the 3 divisions that we're responsible for, that I'm responsible for as the Chief Equity Officer and the Director of the department.
Very nice. I didn't know the department had multiple different divisions under it that you were managing. So Christina, you did not tell me all of this. No, but But so staying on topic, I want to move into your small business program. Now, we mentioned that, in order for a business to be considered a part of the program, they would need to be certified. But what are some of the other components of the program in terms of what would make a business want to get certified? Like, what are the benefits of your small business program and how does it operate?
Yeah, so I'll start and then you do the cleanup batting on this one. I think the city of Fort Worth is almost 1 million residents, right? And we have about a $5 or $6 billion budget. That means we spend a lot of money, and we spend a lot of money on construction projects. We spend a lot of money on goods and services that each one of our 25 departments, 26 now, I think we just added a department this year in October, 26 departments actually spend. So there's a lot, and there are a lot of projects that come through city, right? So when you think about infrastructure projects and the infrastructure bill, we get money. We've received federal money for transportation projects, for water department projects. And these are multi-million-dollar projects that need contractors to do the work, right? And so if there's a business case to be made for why it would be a great idea to get certified and register as a vendor with the city of Fort Worth, it's about $1 billion of open contracting opportunities that we have available.
Yeah, you had me at 6 billion. So definitely keeping that in mind. And then also the 26 departments. Like, I think that's one component that we don't necessarily look at enough is you can do business with multiple different departments within one entity. So I love that you mentioned the 26 departments. I'm going to have to start asking that question more often. How many departments do you have? And Scott, before I move to the next one, is there anything you wanted to add to that one? Because I'm just
Well, I did want to just add. So one of those 26 departments that we have is actually our economic development department. And in one of my previous jobs here at the city, I did work in economic development as well. And so they are really focused on helping small businesses kind of cultivating that next generation of entrepreneur within the city of Fort Worth. So they actually have a campus. It's actually right across the road from us, in which it's the Business Assistance Center, the Devoid Jennings, Business Assistance Center, where they have on-campus and off-campus partners that they partner with to help small businesses. So from anywhere from starting a business to growing a business, all of that, economic development kind of helps those businesses when they need that assistance. So that's one of our 26 departments.
Yeah, I know y'all heard that. I'm going to grab the link and drop that for development.
Yeah, and those programs that Sky is mentioning, the technical assistance that's provided in what we affectionately call the BAC, Business Assistance Center, everything from access to capital programs to writing your initial business plan, to figuring out how to scale your business. It really is the life cycle of a business. Those services are provided in one spot, in one location, in one building.
All right, I got the link. I'm dropping it in the chat now, y'all. Don't worry. Okay, so that's a good point. And I think it kind of highlights and it goes into our next question, which is focused around small business events and how businesses can get in front of, these 26 departments or the individuals who would be able to purchase from them to just advertise their products and services a little bit. Are you having events like that or?
Oh, yes, all the time. We have events all the time. And again, so economic development really does take kind of the lead role in a lot of the workshops and the events that they hold for the small businesses. Right now, I believe they are doing a 4-part series that is focusing on like the financial aspects of small business ownership and creation. So, but they do them all the time. We hold these workshop series and people can either go to the back and take the workshops, or we are out in the community all the time to do outreach events. Now, for my division in business equity, because we work so closely with contractors and subcontractors, we have a list of those folks. And so we routinely do what's known as an outreach campaign, in which once there are activities or workshops or classes that are coming on the horizon, we send that out to our list of vendors and subcontractors as well, so that they are aware of those opportunities that are coming up.
Okay. And then so for business, how would I be, 2 questions. How would I be able to get on that list to understand what events are coming up? And then the second question is there somewhere on the website that I can find the upcoming events as well?
Yes. So certification is going to be like our answer to everything, because we want to make sure that these businesses are certified. So for us, in business equity, the most important thing is to make sure that the businesses are certified through one of our certifying agencies. And then so that's how, in addition to actually registering with the city of Fort Worth as a vendor, those are how you would get on our lists. And then I will shoot you the website that will help kind of direct people to where they need to go.
Got it. Okay. And if you can send me that link, I'll definitely drop it on here as well. But so the answer is certification. So let's get into that, right? Let's dive into that a little bit. What is the process for certification? What do I need to have to get certified? Or you don't have to go into what do I need to have, but what is the process for certification?
So the city of Fort Worth itself, we are not a certifying agency. So, but we partner with certifying agencies to make sure that businesses get certified. So there are a variety of certification agencies. Hold on, I have the list. So we work with the North Central Texas Regional Certification Agency, called NCTRCA. We also work with the Dallas-Fort Worth Minority Supplier Development Council, and then the Women's Business Council, Southwest, and then, of course, the Texas Department of Transportation. So any of those agencies can certify a business, and what we encourage all businesses to do is to get every certification that they are that's available to them to get. So sometimes what will happen is that you'll just get, maybe you'll be certified as an MBE, but you could actually qualify to be a DBE, an MBE, a WBE. So you actually should try to get certified for everything that you qualify for, so that so that the opportunities are there. As many opportunities as you can get are there and are open to you.
I like that. And then the other question is, I see this the metrics on here to show all of the different certifying agencies. So one, that's amazing within itself. I dropped the link in the chat for that certifying agency metrics. So that's another question. I see on here, it has like the federal certifications. Do you also accept those? Because that's a
Yes.
Yeah, depends on the project. So, for city funded projects that are local, our business equity ordinance kind of runs the show, and you have to be certified as an MWBE. If federal funds are involved, then, if you're certified as a DBE or a disadvantaged business enterprise, then we will recognize that, or a hub historically underutilized business if state funds are in there. So it just depends on where the source of the money, as to which certification will apply.
I love that. Where is the money coming from? Okay. I like that. And you usually don't see cities accepting like those certifications. So to hear, where the money is coming from is a good, model to follow for businesses. So if you have those certifications, you could definitely reach out and ask to see. So I love that. Okay. Now let's talk a little bit about procurement, because I got excited when I saw that $6 billion big B, but I got excited.
That's the total budget. That's the total budget. It's $1 billion in contracting and procurement.
That alone,
Just $1 billion. We're just talking $1 billion. Just $1 billion.
No biggie. Just $1 billion. Okay. So I want to talk about that. Because the procurement aspect of it and just understanding as a small business, where can I hop into this space? And first question is, what are your current procurement thresholds?
But let me make sure that I understand the question. What do you mean thresholds?
So let's say, for example, so I know the contracting opportunities that are above 100,000 have the MBE requirements, but let's say I'm a small business. I can't possibly take on that work, right? But what if I wanted to come in and do a micro purchase or provide some service where agency can do micro purchases or P-card purchases or things like that? Like, what are those thresholds that we can kind of navigate through to work our way up to that $100,000 opportunity?
Right. So I think what you're kind of referring to are subcontractors. That would be, so you would have like the prime person on the contract, and then what they can do is bring in subcontractors that are usually smaller businesses or small businesses who can do a portion of kind of the total project. So and we do that all the time. We have that's the majority of what we do, is that we will have the prime, and then we have a variety of subcontractors, and those contractors make up the goal that we set for MWE, or the business equity goal, excuse me.
And to add to that, I think some of the thresholds with the city, we look at any purchase that's up to $3,500. It can be a P card purchase. So those or $3,000 for a P card, but that's kind of the first bucket. So any certified firm that has some type of service that one of the departments may want to purchase, toilet paper or party supplies or something like that, and you've got a party supply business.
Catering?
Catering. The individual department can actually use the P card to make those purchases with the certified business equity firm, right? The next kind of bucket is anything from 3,500 up to like 10,000. And then you can't put it on a P card, but since it's under that threshold, in some cases, specifically like for professional services, it doesn't have to go through the normal RFP process, right? A department can just select someone and say, I'm going to use them for this professional service. So it doesn't have to go through the normal process. It's not until you get up to, those $100,000 contracts when all of those kind of stipulations are in place where you have to run it through an RFP, an RFQ, or an RFI process, or to actually look at multiple contractors or vendors that are trying to provide the same service. And then depending on what type of bid advertisement it is, it's under different guidelines. So if it's lowest bid, then you could name 1,000 different things that you're going to do, but if your price is higher, we're going to go with the lowest bidder. So it kind of varies and depends, but those are kind of the buckets. Anything under 3,000, you can go straight to the department and say, hey, I can provide this service. They don't have to go through kind of the full RFP process that they would if it's at a higher threshold of over 100,000.
I
One thing-
appreciate that because
one
those
thing
$3,000 will add up. Oh, I'm sorry, Skylar.
No, you're absolutely right. It will. But one thing that I forgot to mention is that they do still need to register with the City of Fort Worth purchasing as a vendor. So it is going to be on that link that I sent you. So they will still need to register as a vendor.
Okay, so I'll definitely go ahead and drop that link in there. But those $3,000 add up for 26 departments. I'm just saying,
Right. And this is Texas, so there are lots of parties. There are lots of parties.
What is it? What was that saying about Texas? Go big.
Everything is bigger in Texas.
Everything's bigger in Texas. And like right now, I'm just saying, we're going into the holiday season. All these departments are trying to throw department holiday parties. It would be great if you had a small business that had party supplies, that could, register with the city and make yourself available and known to us in our department, to Sky, make sure she knows that you're registering as a vendor, and we can help get the word out.
Y'all heard this woman say they gonna help get the word out. I don't know about y'all, but I'm convinced. Like, I just need to move there for the holiday season and then come back to Florida. So I'm
no,
convinced.
you won't want to go back.
It has to be quality. It has to be quality. Let me be clear. Like, it has to be a quality good or service, right? Because we, like Sky said, this is Texas. We go big or we go home, but it has to be high quality services.
Absolutely.
Okay. Sky said I wouldn't want to come back home.
You won't.
Now.
People come here and they don't leave.
I'll keep that in mind for sure. But I'm a Florida girl now. I done been around the world. I had to come all the way back here. So
what we don't have in North Texas? Hurricanes.
Oh,
we don't have hurricanes here. That I'm just saying.
Okay, let me do some research. But I'm gonna drop this link. Now, the other part of it is going into, what you said about letting yourself be known, and what is the best way to market, my business within the city to actually just, like you said, let my presence be known, let my business presence known.
So in my opinion, I was just going to say, so from my experience in economic development and just kind of being around the city, I still feel like the best way to get your name out there and to get word on the street is networking. So going to events, going to the workshops, making sure that you are seen and that people know who you are, and just getting out into the community is still, in my opinion, even though it sounds kind of old-fashioned, it's still the best way to really be known in the community.
And then there's for the people that are more digitally minded and technology savvy, what we get and what I personally get all the time are business equity firms that send me their digital brochures or links to their website saying, hey, I just opened my business. This is what I do. Here's some of my previous customers. I'd love to do business with the city of Fort Worth. And we respond to that. I send them to Sky and Gwen and that division. We make sure that they register with the city and get them as a registered vendor with the city. And then we have a management system that allows us to do campaigns, digital campaigns. So we can share that information with our whole database and say, we've got a new business in the community that offers this services. Welcome to Fort Worth, right? So what better way to make introductions than to kind of have a coming out party digitally? And then, like Sky said, there is nothing that beats in-person networking, right? When you are in the room with project managers who are responsible for bid advertisements and purchasing and procurement and contracting, to actually get to know you face to face, right? When they meet you, they've seen your brochure, they've seen what it says on paper, but when somebody embodies what that company stands for, and the level of service that you might be able to provide is standing face to face, that's when people are going to remember you when it's time, when that NAICS code comes up and, oh, wow, I met that person at that last networking event, and let's reach out and make sure that they know that we're about to advertise this bid. And they'll invite you to apply, right? They'll invite you into the process. And that's always a good sign if somebody sought you out and said, I want to make sure that they know about this opportunity and invite you to apply for a bid opportunity.
I like that. I like that. Invite me. I want to come to the party. I have a question, and this is kind of going back to what we were talking about. There's a business that says, what is the process for an entrepreneur in other states who are looking to do business with the city, or they're looking to transfer their business to the city? So that's a two-parter. Y'all over here recruiting people.
We
Move here.
We do. Yeah. So for companies that are looking to do business that aren't physically located in our marketplace yet, there is a provision in our ordinance where if you partner with a firm that is already here, and you do that for a significant amount of time, where you can show that over a 10-year period you've done about $1 million of business here, then we can count you in the program as well. But we would love for you to physically relocate.
Yes.
Events in
Okay.
person.
Okay.
But, we do have digital networking events as well. That's one of the things that I'm sure everybody had to make that pivot during COVID, where we still had to connect with our business equity firms. And one way that we did that is we developed a pretty robust digital networking model. So we work hand in hand with our Fort Worth Metropolitan Black Chamber of Commerce, who's led by a phenom Black female, Michelle Greenford. Shout out to Michelle. They just, little shameless plug here, they just won Chamber of the Year nationally, Black Chamber of the Year nationally. So Michelle is all of that in a bag of chips. And Chamber of Commerce. Huh?
Proceed to go find the link, right?
Yes. And then our Fort Worth Hispanic Chamber of Commerce is led by the incomparable Annette Landeros, who is just a legend here in Fort Worth. She's killing the game and has just transformed the landscape for our Hispanic contractors here in the area. So we partner with both of them on all of our events, and we come to their events. They're one of our actual consulting partners. They provide technical assistance, and that when we have opportunities, we send it to them, and then they send it out to their networks. So we are I think trying to become a very well-oiled machine that is building an inclusive economic ecosystem right here.
Wow, that's
And it's
amazing.
probably not by accident that women are leading the
I mean,
charge.
it's by design, to be honest with you. Ooh, it's by design. I love that. And I love the shameless plugs. I love it. We talk about this like, well, with some friends of mine, but we talk about people who speak your name in rooms when you're not even there. Like, that is amazing. So anytime you could do that, pop it in there, because we want to know these people too. We want to talk about them. So
Michelle Green Ford, Annette Landeros.
listen, I done dropped the links in the chat, so y'all go ahead, go to it. I have one more question. So someone said, would registered vendors with no certification yet be considered, well, would they be considered if they went after an opportunity under 100,000?
Yes. So
yes,
we don't deny anybody, right? We want you to participate. The difference is that we wouldn't be able to count you in our reporting under the business equity program until you completed your certification. And if you're in the process of completing certification, we can make sure that we provide support so that gets completed, right? If you're stuck, that's why we partner with the North Central Texas Regional Certifying Agency. Actually, Sky's boss and the AD of that department is Gwen Wilson. She actually sits on the board for the North Central Texas Regional Certifying Agency. So she helps shape the direction of our the certifying agency for North Texas, not just Fort Worth, but for North Texas. And then we've got Margot Posey, who is the chair of our Business Equity Advisory Board, who is also the leader at our DFW Minority Supplier Development Council, the other certifying agency. Right. So we just got connections.
And yes, one thing about me, I love me a good name dropper. So y'all hear Christina over here dropping these names. When you find these people on LinkedIn or you reach out, hey, Christina, I heard of Christina talking about you on the Government Coins podcast. Like this, I love me a name dropper. Thank you, Christina. So if y'all haven't learned anything from that, go back, watch or listen to it again. If you're watching it on YouTube, go back, watch it, get your notes. Take the name down, you find their email, or you reach out to them on LinkedIn, or when you go to an event and you see them, I heard about all the amazing work you're doing, and thank them for what they're doing, because there's no reason someone like Christina would be on here praising somebody if they're not providing some type of value. So let's
trust and believe that is not me. I will not gonna come out of my mouth if I haven't seen evidence of great.
Listen, y'all, if y'all have some more questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat. We're getting ready to wind down. So I have one final question to ask Christina and Sky. And actually, let me pull it up right here. So we mentioned a little bit about businesses reaching out. What is your preferred method for businesses reaching out to the business equity department?
So you can call us, you can email us, you can drop by if you wanted to, but probably the easiest way is going to be through our email, and I will send that to you. That's going to be the easiest way, but then you can also call in our office as well. Let's see.
I don't know too many people out here giving out their phone number. So just so y'all know, they are serious about the work that they are doing. I just got to put that out there.
Yeah, and I agree with Sky. I think if the email, it's documented, number one, and we can always follow up. A phone call, we might miss it. There might be a technical error or something like that, and we don't get it. If you don't leave a message or we don't recognize the number, anything can happen with the phone call. But I think if you send us an email, then we actually have something that we can refer back to.
I love that. And you keep the conversation going. Okay. So no one dropped a question in this amount of time that we're going to answer them. But again, you always have the opportunity to reach out and learn more and share more about your business. Listen, Christina and Scott, I don't know. This is such a great episode. I'm just grateful. I feel like this is some information that I'm going to use and when I come to Fort Worth. So let me put that out there.
When you move to Fort Worth.
Oh gosh. See, move is a strong. I said come. I said okay, so I have these links. Any departing wisdom that you would like to share with the community and small businesses?
So I'll start because Christina's our closer. So so I will say this, that for years and years and years, we have not been invited to the table. We have not been invited into the rooms where these decisions are being made. And I think that environment is changing through the work that we're doing here and in other places. And I think that now is the time for anyone who is bold enough and courageous enough to want to be a part of that conversation, to come in and to have a seat at that table and to really become a part of it. It's your time.
And I will just say that I'm a history buff. My undergraduate degree is in history, and so one of the key time periods that I always look to is Reconstruction after the Civil War. And when you look at how people of color during Reconstruction rose to a level of prosperity and excellence in a very short amount of time, right? When the door finally opened, we not only stepped through, girl, we ran the 100 in less than 6 seconds, right? We built Black Wall Street and businesses in every industry. We were clicking. Let's do that again. Let's do that again. Let's do that again. We have everything available to us, and then some things that we didn't even, our ancestors would have never dreamed that we would have access to the things that we have access to now. And if they were able to accomplish what they did under the circumstances they were coming out of, what are we capable of now? So like Sky said, look, let's step through the door. Let's dream big, and let's support each other. Right. Support each other. When somebody starts a business, go buy their stuff. Go spend money with their business, right? Don't just pat them on the back. Good job, girl. All right, you got your new business. Go spend money with them. Talk about them. Encourage them, right? And make sure that they stay in business. Stay in business. So that's where I'm going to stop.
You know what? That I'm touching and agreeing with you on that right there, because that was a whole sermon.
Touch and agree.
Yes, I love that one. And then, so as soon as we get ready to go off, someone asked a question, right? And they wanted to know, when is the next industry day in Fort Worth, if you're having some events or something?
Don't know when the actual date is. I believe that there's an event coming up in November.
Okay.
But I'm not 100% sure of the exact date.
Okay. That's fine. If you go to the website, you could also email business equity division. Look, I'm a part of the team now. But email the business equity division. And you can ask that question, and you'll get a response closer to that date or when something comes out. So,
Right.
But yes, that was an amazing closing. I'm so excited for the work that you all are doing and I'm going to continue to do, and it's only going to get bigger and better from here. Good luck. Good luck with all of the businesses who are responding to some of these opportunities and going through this process of get certified. As long as you continue and persist through this process, you will get there. You will definitely get there. In the meantime, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. We have episodes coming out with multiple city, states, and local government agencies throughout the United States. This season and the seasons beyond. We have someone in the chat that says, "Amen. Thank you all. It was a great help. This was full of information. Thank you." So people are going in the chat. And again, I want to thank you both again. And we'll definitely do this again. So let's leave that at that.
All right. Until next time.
Until next time. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. The stream has ended. All right.